Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. If I look tired, it's because I am tired, and I'd say the hardest thing about having a baby is, not being able to sleep when you want, and I don't know. I had a lot of social interaction this week, which is kind of what the video is going to be about. I felt like talking about some of the weird social interactions I've had, and there was definitely another one that I thought of yesterday that I'm going to have to try to re-remember, but it's been a very, I don't want to say, socially overstimulating week, but I don't really have a better way of putting that. Right now, what am I going to do? I'm probably going to finish drinking my coffee, pay some bills, schedule some more appointments, and I have stuff to do for the startup, but I need my mom to help me before that happens. Anyway, still have the baby. She's crawling around. Cool. But yeah, a pretty interesting week in general. I'm still, harassing the government and whatever, kind of. That's kind of calmed down. I was going to make a video about all the jobs I applied to, but I'm going to have to, put those in a spreadsheet and stuff. And I need to, start scoring them. This is when I applied. This is when I heard back. This is when I never heard back. I think those stats could be pretty interesting to somebody who's also involved in job searching at this point. But yeah. So, anyway, I ended up, having this weatherization thing happen, which is, somebody from, I don't know, some government program comes to your house and checks what's going on. And this set me back a day going and picking up my friend from Ocean City, New Jersey. But due to the fact that I had just come back from Philadelphia, and my house is still a mess from that, but I feel like today I'm not going to make any progress with that, so I probably need to mentally schedule when I'm going to make progress with that, which also reminds me I need to look at something for the little gym. It just feels very it's not like I don't want to have friends, it's just that then I start thinking of all the stuff I have to get done, and then it's oy. Okay, so this one friend came to visit. It was actually kind of fortunate that she had to do half days of work so then I could go do whatever nonsense I needed to do. Some of this was yeah, probably what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna go running and then try to be productive after that, but I need to take a nap at some point during today. Okay, whatever. This is a bunch of irrelevant blah blah blah, which is how this channel goes, as we know. But so picked the friend up. The friend was working. That kind of worked. We went into New York City. Very randomly and last minute, I met up with a Russian girl who studied at a university in St. Petersburg with one of my old roommates in La Pedranta. So I've been in contact loosely with this girl for probably 3 years at this point, and I know she lives in New York City. I'm like, hey, I'm in New York City for the evening if you're able to meet up. And she's like, oh, I can meet up after 8, but if you have the baby. But I didn't have the baby, so therefore I was out pretty late. So what I'm trying to say is I was out late on Thursday, I was up late on Friday, I was up late on Saturday, and I was up late on Sunday, and I'm like, oh god, this is terrible. I did actually drink a little bit this weekend, even though I thought I permanently quit drinking, although I feel like this experience just confirmed to me why I should probably permanently quit drinking. I was having some insomnia or something yesterday, I think because of this, and I was literally watching a movie at 3 a.m. by myself, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty weird. Anyway, but it was cool meeting up with this girl on Thursday because she brought along with her this other Russian girl who had lived in Japan for 9 years and could speak Japanese fluently, and that was literally so cool. Speaking of which, I need to she gave me a LinkedIn contact for my business that I got to do something with, so it's on my to-do. Anyway, so we have that. That was pretty cool. My friend who was visiting is actually Kazakh, but doesn't speak Kazakh. She only speaks Russian, so I was speaking to her in Russian the whole time. And it's pretty convenient because I just been blah, 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 blah. And then I say the word in English, and I'm like, what is this in Russian? And I learned a bunch of new words from her this week. And then I'm like, man, I just really love speaking Russian. I gotta figure out how to do more of that. I love that. Anyway, so besides on this channel, but I don't get, I get feedback in terms of comments on this channel, but it's like not the same. But yeah, she's like, this friend, I don't know her so well. We were actually coworkers. And she's like, how are you so outgoing? And I'm like, I mean, I don't really think I'm that outgoing. I just talk to people. No, but like, I mean, just like, I'm social, right? But I don't think I'm outgoing. Like, I do like to like interact with people, like my friends and stuff, but like, I'm not like always trying to talk to randos in public. Like, sometimes I am, but like, I wouldn't say it's my default mode. But things I have a really hard time with are going out. So I went out finally again, like, I'm like, do I say where I went out to? Because, like, I have this whole thing where I'm like, I don't want people knowing where I live in New Jersey, but, like, they could probably figure it out if they really looked. But, like, I went out to Asbury Park for, like, the second time ever in my life as a now almost 31-year-old. And the last time I went there was 3 years ago, and I said, okay, I went to these two particular places, like Johnny Mac's and what was the other one? Bond Street, and I did not like them. It was too overstimulating, too loud, too many people. I felt like a sardine. I was like, I do not want to go to these places. So we didn't. We went to like Lola's and what was this other place we even went to? Watermark. Better than the last experience, but still not fun. So this is when I've decided that like I think I should just give up on going out altogether. The funner thing I did yesterday was went to like a show, and then it was a beer brewery. Yes, a beer brewery. That's how that is, a brewery. And then that was like more fun because that was like a little group, and yeah, I just enjoyed that more. So I guess my point is I don't actually like enjoy being in places with a ton of people where I'm not interacting with anybody and they're just there and they're like making my brain tired. So yes, autism. But I don't know. I was like, I didn't really like have this problem in Finland where I'd be around a bunch of people and it'd make me tired, but probably because I was around a bunch of giant nerds all the time. So pretty much anybody I talked to wasn't like that much work for my brain to interact with them. But yeah, other weird things that happened this week is I got hit on while with my child, I think. Probably by another autistic person, which made it even weirder, but as I say, it's like at a point I only have like cognitive scripting for how to deal with other level 1 autists and like neurotypical people. When we start getting into higher levels of autism, I have absolutely no idea what to do with these people, and it's like really kind of distressing to me to interact with them. And I feel really bad about that because like obviously it is sad. But yeah, it's how I feel. But yeah, it was weird because like I live in a place where there's a pool. And I went to the pool. Honestly, like, I feel like going to the pool at this point is just for the memes, because, like, I can make a whole video on all the weird characters at the pool. This is what this is going to turn into right now. So, the first weird character I ever met at the pool was this lady who was really into politics and Trump. And I was like, okay, I don't like this conversation topic. I didn't say that. I just was like, okay. And then I just didn't really give a lot of feedback because I just didn't know what to say to her. And this other lady butt into the conversation because I think she realized I didn't want to be talking to her. And then she was all like, I disagree with you. And I was like, ugh, America. Anyway, so then she told me like some random thing that happened on the news where these people got arrested for doing a proposal on top of the Empire State Building, and because I live under a rock, I didn't know about it, and blah, blah, blah. The other thing I do sometimes is I talk to the lifeguards, because they're like these 15-year-old kids, and honestly, it's more fun talking to them, I think, than talking to the adults, which is weird, because when I was younger, I enjoyed talking to adults, and now that I'm older, I enjoy talking to people younger than me. Maybe just because it's offering a different perspective, I don't really know why. But anyway, there's this girl who works there who, when I thought I had cancer, actually told me the story of a few people she knew who had cancer, and it was very sad. And one thing I thought was so wholesome is that she said one of the guys she was, I guess, playing lacrosse with or whatever, knew from lacrosse, he, like, got cancer and had to do chemo, and not obviously, but went bald, and so then all of his friends shaved their heads to support him, and I was like, that's so nice. I can't even believe that. It was so cute. Anyway, so talking to her about random stuff, like what she wants to do later on, talking to her about what I did or what I do, kind of. She asked me questions about my life. So the last thing she was asking me about was like, oh, do you want to have more kids? Which is a question I get all the time now. And honestly, I just am doing the thing where I just keep giving random different answers because I don't even really know the answer. I'm like, oh, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. Or I'm like, I really did want two kids. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't really need a second kid. Even last night I had the thought of, being pregnant was terrible. Giving birth was terrible. Like, do I really want to go through both of those things again? That's like a really long, it's like, 9 months of torture. Like, do I really need that experience in my life again at this point? Like, did I even need it the first time? No, I loved my baby, but no, I did not love getting to the point of having the baby, for sure not. Anyway, she's like, do you want another baby? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm like happy I have one. I keep saying this to people, actually. I'm like, look, some people get none. I'm just glad I have one. Like, because really, like, I'm very grateful for that, even despite the whole terrible circumstance around it. But, count your blessings, you'll be happier. So anyway, then she's like, what did I say? I was like, yeah, but it's like hard to find a dude. That's literally what I said to her. And then this guy, oh my god, this guy is literally like a 50-year-old, okay? This guy could be like my dad's age or older. I don't even know. I can't tell people's age anymore. This somehow got a lot harder the older I got. But this guy is like, he's just like, he asked me twice, like, how old is your baby? And I'm like, is this guy stupid or is he really just trying to have a conversation? The answer to that question is undetermined. But anyway, it was weird because I'm like really full on in the middle of a conversation with this 15-year-old girl, and he's like, how old's your baby? Oh, she's so cute. Thank you. I know, she is so cute. Thanks. No, but then he's starting to talk to me about, like, I don't know, just starts asking, like, very, like, okay, like, look, I understand the directness and stuff, but, like, here's the thing I'm having a hard time understanding is, like, what makes you as a 50-year-old think you can successfully hit on a 30-year-old and not get away with it, but it would actually go anywhere? So at that point, is it just you just want the interaction or like what? But it made me uncomfortable and therefore not want to interact with him again. Ugh, so I don't know about all that. But he starts asking me questions about like, okay, because he heard me talking to this girl, okay? And then he's like, oh, do you live with your husband? All right, we have to stop right there because this doesn't make any sense. First off, if I had a husband, why wouldn't he live with me? Question mark. And then, like, you just heard me saying that, like, this is just weird because this just feels like an indirect way of, like, trying to see that I'm, like, on the market, which, like, I don't really feel like disclosing that to a random 50-year-old guy who lives in my complex at the pool who I'm going to keep running into. Like, can we have a normal conversation first before we get into that? Like, you're not a woman. I'm not, like, having this, like, emotional conversation with you. Anyway, so then the next weird thing is he's, like, asking me what I do for work. Nothing. I mean, I don't really explain that to people here. Like, I was like, yeah, let me just say I'm a PhD student instead these days, because that is true. But anyway, he's like, yeah, what do you do for work? I was like, oh, I was a data analyst. I got laid off. And then he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, what do you do? He's like, I work for USPS, which is the Postal Service, which is a union job, one of the few in the U.S. That is, like, a good job to have in terms of security, like job security. And then I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then, I don't know, I guess I asked him a couple questions about that just out of curiosity. And then I guess that was, like, pretty much it. No, he was trying to talk to me about, like, living in different states and how bad the economy is. And I'm like, I could go on a soapbox about how bad the economy is, but I will refrain. Yeah, so that was weird. I feel like I had another weird interaction. Oh yeah, this was going to be the funny thing. The most entertaining thing that happened while I went out to some bars. I'm just not a bar person, but anyway, there was a guy who looked pretty autistic. And so, like, the funny thing about it is at some point we asked him to take a picture of me and my friend, and then she, like, was like, hi, my name is whatever, and, like, what's your name? And then pretty much as soon as, like, the introduction, he, like, kind of ran away from us, which, like, honestly, it was funny. And I was like, wow, okay. But I'm like, what's the point of going out? But some people, they don't really go out because they want to talk to randos. They're going out just to be with their friends, which, there we go. So, I don't know. Is that the only story? I don't know. People are weird. I just feel like all the time people I don't want talking to me talk to me, and the people I actually would kind of want to talk to don't talk to me. But, that's just kind of how life goes with everything, I would say. Whenever you actually want something, you're not going to get it. So you should just have low to no expectations. The only expectations you should have are not tolerating people being jerks to you, and that's about it. Which, honestly, you can just stop talking to them. I guess that's the only solution. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the point is, I had a lot of social interaction this week. From literally Wednesday to Sunday. That's 5 days of social interaction. That's really a lot for me. So, I'm probably gonna, try to hide under a rock for the next few days. Pump out some YouTube videos. Try to feel productive. Gotta start packing for Finland. I need to start cleaning up in here and organizing, because when I come back it's going to be winter, and right now the summer clothes are out, and blah blah blah. And then, do I need to do anything else? Does this baby want to eat? That's all I have for today. So basically the moral of the story is, if you're autistic, maybe you're going to get tired having too much social interaction. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. And I guess the other moral of the story is, be careful with drinking after you have a baby. I don't know. That you don't get insomnia. I'm not really sure that's the point either. I don't know. I was just trying to make something entertaining. I was out living life, not doing YouTube. Now I have to feed my pet daughter, so... Honestly, I don't care how weird it sounds, but having a baby is really like having a dog. It's just a more involved version of a dog that wants more responses out of you. So... She's doing this just because she wants to react. Come here, Edie, sit up. Edie, sit up. Edie, come here. Edie, sit up. Edie, come here. Oh, baby. So cute. You want coffee? Babies don't drink coffee. This baby is so cute. Oh, well. Alright, well, we're gonna eat something now. Don't worry, we're gonna eat breakfast. Until next time, bye.